Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Update, YouTube's most inconsistent weekly video game news show. I'm your host, Brennan West. Let's talk about games. Earlier this week, an 11-year-old Florida boy was surprised to discover that his used copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 came with a complimentary bag of meth.
Kayla McAllister purchased the game on Sunday from the GameStop on West Tennessee Street. She claims her 11-year-old son was looking through the inner sleeve of the game when he found a baggie with a white substance inside.
The police were soon dispatched, and they were able to confirm that the bag did indeed test positive for methamphetamine. The boy's mother had this to say on Facebook. "Today I took my son to GameStop in Tallahassee to trade in some games and get some new ones. When he opened the booklet inside one of the pre-owned games, he, my 11-year-old son, found this. A baggie of f***ing meth? Clearly the game was not properly checked when it was traded in, and because of this carelessness, I could have lost a child. Thankfully, he brought it right to us and said, 'What is this?' Well, it's a bag of meth, kid, and probably not the last one you're gonna see, considering that you're being raised by a single mom in Florida. Anyways, when GameStop finally contacted the boy's mother, they reportedly offered to replace the video game by mail so that she wouldn't have to travel to the store.
I've spoken to corporate, and they're investigating. They actually offered me a video game to replace it.
Okay, now to be fair, yes, I mean, GameStop technically did deal your child a lethal dose of methamphetamine, but I mean, they did offer to give you a free video game, and they didn't even ask for the meth back. I mean, all I'm saying is that it's not the worst trade-in deal that GameStop's ever offered. To be frank, if more used video games came with bags of meth, GameStop would probably be doing a lot better. Now, if all of this sounds familiar, it's because the exact same thing happened to another 11-year-old boy in Louisiana back in September.
Imagine buying a game to add to your collection and finding much more inside. That's what happened this week when an 11-year-old went to GameStop on Nelson Road. According to the boy's father, a baggie of drugs was found inside the case. The Narcotics Task Force tested the substance and confirmed it was meth.
I mean, what the hell is wrong with society now? Can't an 11-year-old boy just buy a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 without being exposed to the harsh realities of the drug trade? So I think we actually have a picture of the GameStop in Tallahassee. Can we see that now? Oh, okay, yeah, I think I see the problem here. A man on the Elder Scrolls subreddit claimed that his collector's edition of the Elder Scrolls anthology saved his life when it stopped a stray bullet that entered his apartment. Reddit user RabbitMix shared pictures showing the bullet's entry point and the impact damage that it had on the game collection that stood between him and the bullet. While I was at my desk playing Prey last night, I heard a sudden loud pop and the sound of breaking glass. At first I thought a light bulb had burst, but soon noticed the cloud of drywall dust in the air and a bullet hole to the left of my monitor. Naturally, police were on the scene shortly thereafter, and in an effort to ease the tension, the officer reportedly cracked a joke about seizing their Nintendo Switch and Breath of Wild as evidence. Well, I'm glad he had a sense of humor about the whole thing. RabbitMix commented, "It's kind of poetic that my favorite game, a game that I've given over 1,000 hours of my life to, gave its life for mine." And when word of the story reached Bethesda VP Pete Hines on Twitter, he seemed to suggest that RabbitMix was in line to get some free stuff. Now, this is either an incredible story or the most dangerous PR stunt of all time. Either way, it poses a very important question, which is, what the f do I have to do to get some free stuff? I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but the Nintendo Switch came out over 2 months ago. I still can't get one. I don't even want one anymore. It's just the principle of the matter. And if this week has proven anything, it's that good things only happen to unfortunate people. And I think it's time for my luck to run out. Okay, so I just bought this used Wii U game system from GameStop, and I've also got this bag of meth that I procured. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the box, along with a used beer can. I'll put that in there too. I've also got this blow-up doll. I'll add that in there too, and knife for good measure. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my windowsill, and I'd like to invite any gun owners in the area to stop on by and fire off a few rounds in my apartment. With any luck, one of the rounds will impact this Wii U game system that's loaded with adult paraphernalia. I'll make a big fuss about it online, and then I'll be on my way to getting a free Nintendo Switch. In other news, developer Arcane Studios' new title, Prey, launched earlier this week.
Oh my god! Security! Security!
Prey is a first-person shooter with role-playing game elements and a narrative similar to something like System Shock 2. The game was originally developed by Human Head Studios years ago as an intended sequel for the 2006 video game Prey, but got caught in development limbo for the better part of a decade and is now resurfaced as a reimagining of the IP. The PC version of Prey currently has an 84 score on Metacritic and is rated as very positive on Steam. And since we have time, why don't we take a look at some of these Steam reviews just to see what all the excitement's about. Arcane plus a game that runs smoothly on launch, turns out it can happen. Thumbs up for just that. I was hesitant to purchase Prey, but I had faith that Arcane learned from Dishonored 2's awful performance. I was right. Running maxed out at 60 frames per second is so delicious. The gameplay is very cautious but intense, and the ability to craft ammo and other items is well thought out. Mimics, somewhat cheesy as they give you constant jump scares, are a unique approach to horror as they transform into other objects. This keeps you on the edge as you smash every object with a wrench. Overall, it was just an okay experience. Kind of felt like BioShock, but stripped of all its heart and soul. I can see some people liking this game, and that's awesome, but ultimately, this wasn't for me. I'd personally wait until you can get it on sale for at least 50% off. Bought this game used and found a bag of meth in the game manual. Now, I don't have to tell you that I'm being raised by a single mom in Florida for you to know that I popped that sucker up my nose faster than Sally Yates' term as U.S. Attorney General. Long story short, I busted out my 9 and popped off a couple rounds in my neighbor's apartment. I'm 11 years old and I work for Bethesda. Wait, what the f?